What's poppin', everybody? Sebro24. So I touched upon this topic a little bit in my How to Become a Successful Pokemon Collector video, but I think it deserves a little extra focus because theme decks are kind of different than even the other non-booster box products like collection editions and tins and all that stuff. So should you ever buy theme decks? And the answer is not really. In most situations, you shouldn't ever buy theme decks. And there is a couple of reasons for that. So one of the things that, if I have to be honest, Yu-Gi-Oh has over the Pokemon is the theme decks. And maybe that's a good thing, maybe that's a bad thing as well. The Pokemon theme decks, when a new set gets released, and they always come up with the two theme decks sort of thing. And the downside of those theme decks is that all the cards that are in those theme decks you can find basically in the box. Now, of course, there's going to be there's usually the sort of boss card of the theme deck is a holo rare that only comes as a normal rare in the actual set, like if you pull it from a booster. But other than that, it's basically mostly the only difference. All of the cards you can get from the set, and for around, let's say, £10 or maybe $10 if you're from the US, I'm gonna assume it's around like £9, $9.99. So £10 maybe is a little few more dollars. But anyway, getting a theme deck of 60 cards with a bunch of commons and uncommons and a few rares that you can get from boosters and from a booster box isn't a good deal. Now, this is where Yu-Gi-Oh has a little bit of an advantage because when they come out with structure decks and even starter decks, it's gonna have a lot of cards maybe that they already exist, like MST and cards like those, for those of you that might not know about Yu-Gi-Oh, but they usually have some sort of theme going and a bunch of new cards that make sort of the structure deck. And what you do is you buy a couple and you can basically build a specific deck that comes from those structure decks that is basically the structure deck. Now with Pokemon, that's not really the case. There are a few exceptions that I'm going to talk about, but it's just a bunch of cards that you can get from the booster box, from the set, and nothing really new. And yeah, maybe you want to get that for the one holo version of the card, but it's not exactly worth it for your money. Now, perhaps that's a good thing too for Pokemon because that just eliminates another product that, oh man, I have to buy this as well, because these TCG companies, they release so many products now. It's not just the regular set and let's say a couple of tins and theme decks with all these collector's editions, all these extra sets, special sets that come out like Shining Legends. We're going to have Dragon's Majesty pretty soon and all this stuff. There's a lot of products that you have to keep up with. If you want to be a serious collector and get everything, you probably won't be able to do so. So maybe if you know that, oh, I can eliminate the theme decks, that's a good thing. When it comes to a good Pokemon product, a good sort of TCG product, they're not really that good. Now, there are a few situations where maybe you should get a theme deck, and it's actually a good thing that you start with a theme deck. So if you're going to get into the Pokemon TCG and you're not sure if you're going to get into that, you're not sure if you're going to stick with that, then of course, instead of buying a booster box or buying a couple of packs, it's much better to just pay 10 bucks, if that's even the price in the US, but pay 10 pounds and get a theme deck. It's ready to play. You have all the energies and all that stuff inside, and it's ready to go. And for sentimental value too, if you're going to start out, why not start with a theme deck? At least get a theme deck once in your life. But yeah, after you get serious, you shouldn't really buy theme decks. But if you're going to start out, it's a good thing to just buy a theme deck. It's the sort of the least money to pay to have a deck ready to play. Start out pretty basic, and there are a couple of good theme decks too that I'm going to talk about. But yeah, and you get into it, and if you see you like it, you can just get extra shit from there, and you're gonna have the holo rare card and stuff. But yeah, that's basically the Pokemon theme decks. And the other thing that kind of makes them not so good is that for Yu-Gi-Oh theme decks, they actually have a bunch of holo rares and a bunch of special cards inside. It's not like how it used to be where you get like 39 common cards and one ultra rare card and shit. The Pokemon TCG, they kind of still do this now. It's only you get one sort of special holo card, and then the rest of the cards are just commons and commons. You don't really get a bunch of holos, so it doesn't make it that appealing. It doesn't give it that much value. If it came with a bunch of holos that actually came as rare holos from the set, it will make it quite appealing, if you ask me, more appealing, or if you want to get some specific Pokemon. But yeah, the other benefit, I guess, is that if you buy a theme deck, you get a bunch of energies right from the start. And I mean, you can get energies in bulk online and from other places. I don't think it's that difficult. The Pokemon Company, they're even going to come out with a special product that's basically, it just includes energies and that's it. It's like a big deck box with a bunch of energies of all types in there, something like that, if they didn't come out with it already. So, maybe that's even a better deal. But yeah, just trying to get a bunch of theme decks so you can get covered with the energies, I don't think that's a good idea. But maybe if you get your first theme deck to start things out, you have the energies for maybe if you want to make a deck that uses those energies. So that's about the only time you should get a theme deck. Now there are a couple of theme decks that maybe if you want to build a competitive deck, they're kind of good. For example, the Ultra Prism ones, I think it's called Max Strike and Royal Command, something like that. It's basically the Garchomp theme deck and an Empoleon theme deck. Now the Garchomp deck is not really all that, at least maybe for me, I guess I don't know how to use it, don't know how to build it exactly, but I didn't really dig it, but I suppose it is kind of a stage 2 deck, a normal stage 2 deck that maybe can do some shit. It's more competitive than other decks. So, for example, if you buy that, you instantly get 2 of the Dragon Garchomps. I'm not sure if there's a Lucario inside, but I'm guessing, no, yeah, there should be. There should be like 1 or 2 Lucarios in there. So you get a bunch of those. But I mean, I'm pretty sure if you get like an Ultra Prism booster box, you probably could pull a bunch of those. Lucario does come as a rare holo, so maybe not. But maybe if you want to build the fucking Garchomp deck, then maybe you buy 1 or 2 of those. And the Empoleon one, the same thing. Empoleon is a good stage 2 Pokemon that can do total command, lots of damage if both of you have a full bench. So you get 1 or 2 of those and you can build the deck, basically, the Empoleon deck. Or rather, you at least have the main Pokemon. You're probably going to need a lot of other Pokemon that you don't find in the little deck there. So you guys get the idea. Even in those cases where there's a bunch of the boss Pokemon from the theme deck is a kind of a competitive card a little bit, you could say, you still get a bunch of other cards that are kind of useless for the most part. So I don't know. But if you really don't plan on getting a booster box, if let's say you bought a couple of packs and I don't know, man, you're just missing, I guess, the Garchomp, then yeah, maybe get the theme deck of that or something. But for the most part, it's not really good. And that's the thing, at least with the other products, the collection boxes, tins and stuff, even if they're maybe overpriced, like let's say the collection boxes and the ones with the jumbo cards in and stuff, at least you do get some actual boosters. So maybe you are gonna open one of those and there's gonna be a Tapu Lele inside. So there's always that. But with the theme deck, you know what you're getting, and you know for the most part you're not getting really good shit. If they ever improve the theme decks significantly, like they did with Yu-Gi-Oh! I can't believe Yu-Gi-Oh! Has something over Pokemon, but yeah, like maybe you get a bunch of rare holos, like let's say they included a bunch of holo Agrons, maybe Crimson Invasion kind of thing, or a bunch of holo cards in general. You get a couple, maybe not so much an EX, but if they did something like that, it would definitely be incentive, just an exclusive EX for the theme deck. So that's the kind of stuff they need to do to make the theme decks more appealing. Other than that, they're just there to be there. Like, I'm surprised they actually even keep releasing them so frequently because I just don't see why people would buy them. Like, maybe newbies, just for newbies, but, for people and even kids that, know what they're doing, they know that there's no point in me getting a theme deck. I'm going to get a bunch of subpar cards for the most part, and everything I can just pull from a booster box. So that's basically it. For the energies, I talked about that too. They're not even that great if you just want to get a couple of energies. But like I've said, there are a couple of theme decks that are better than others. The one Roaring Heat one, I think that's what it's called, from the first Sun and Moon set. There's an Oranguru over there, and from what people have been saying, I think Oranguru is $7 or something. I don't even think it's that expensive. It's ridiculous if it's that expensive. You can probably get it like for €2 from the card market, but I don't know. But that's a competitive card, and people say, you know, you can get that theme deck, and you basically almost paid for the whole theme deck by getting the Orangu in there. But I think that's just the exaggeration and people just saying whatever the fuck they want. I don't believe that Orangu should be that expensive, and even in that regard, it's just not that worth it. Just for one little draw Pokemon like that. If you're gonna get like maybe the Max Strike one for the Garchomps and the Lucario, that's a little bit better because you're already getting a bunch of significant cards for your deck that you need. Maybe it has a bunch of supporters in there too, like Cynthia. So, you know, that's pretty good in that regard. It's much more value than just getting a theme deck just for fucking Oranguru. That's not even all that. But yeah, so this is why you don't get theme decks, basically because all of the cards are in the set. You don't really get a lot of hollows and shit and valuable cards, and they're just not that good. They don't really offer that much. So hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys subscribe, leave a like, share this with your friends. Cerebral94, what's up?